Welcome back, everyone. We have a great guest, someone I've been looking forward to interviewing for a while, Sam from Frozen Soul. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great, dude.
Hell yeah.
So let's get into this. This is your guys' third studio record. With you guys recording and writing, how did you go about this as a bass player?
Typically how that goes is like Michael and Chad are kind of like the primary writers for like the music, and then like I'll come in after like the main guitar riffs are solidified and ironed out, and I'll kind of like throw some ideas out, and we'll like iron out the bass, like how like do we want to slide here, like whatever. But typically, like I try to round out Michael's guitar because he has more of the high end, and Chris's is like more of the low end because he's rhythm. So I try to like give Chris a little more punch, and then Michael just a little bit more behind that to kind of make it like even, I guess. So um, writing wise, it's just really waiting on them to be done, and then just kind of seeing what everybody thinks after we like lay it all out and stuff like that.
That makes a lot of sense. It's insane that that's how you guys go about it. Like he's like the lower, and the other one's like the higher, and you just try to like balance it all together. That's definitely interesting to do that way. Um,
Yeah, I don't know. This is my first band technically, like
mhm.
in theory. So I've this has been like a big learning curve for me, like personally. But this is like all we've done, so that's just how I assume like most of the time it gets done. You know what I mean? Um, but yeah, so it's really like Michael getting done with his, and then me trying to beef everything up, but not overpower, Matt's kicks or like Chris's low end either. So
And with you like being like this being your first band and you guys have three records, would you say this is like you guys found Frozen Soul sound, or are you guys still trying to like define it and figure out little things?
um I think we kind of know what works for us as a band, and like I think we've found our sound, like especially this record. So this is our second full length, and then we had the Encased in Ice demo and stuff. But like, um, I think we definitely have found our sound. It was just more like honing it
Mhm.
this record and trying to like make it more professional sounding and like beefing it up a little bit, and also experimenting too. Like I think that's really important, like in music. I know a lot of people like dog on it when people try new stuff, but the shit gets stale after a while, especially
Yeah.
like in metal or death metal. So it's like, let's just try to like, fuck around and do some shit. And it worked out for this record. We also have some singles that have been recorded. I don't know if I'm supposed to
Nice.
say that. But they're pretty sick. And like, I do like a theremin on one of those. And that was like really fun. And, um, I think experimenting is good, but like also staying true to your sound and what made your band popular or whatever, or noticeable
Yeah.
is really important. So
I agree with that. And a lot of bands don't get that. For you guys, you do have to spice it up because eventually it's gonna get boring. And then for you, then it's just gonna sound like every old Metallica record or every old
sure, yeah,
Megadeth. And it's like, yeah, that draws in the same fans, but you want a bigger audience, a wider, like you want bigger crowds at your shows, you know? And a lot of people don't get that.
sure, yeah. I mean, that is that's a very good point, and that's something that I wish more people like knew. Like,
Hmm.
if we didn't try to push ourselves a little bit more and make not not make death metal more palatable, but
Hmm.
make it more accessible to
Yeah.
people who maybe like aren't in the underground, um, we wouldn't, be able to ascend and continue to do this for a living. So it's like, having more accessible music
Hmm.
means bigger tours for us. We have more range to go do things and go to other places. If we pigeonhole ourselves into a specific genre, like, oh, we're only going to stay underground. Like, we're not gonna be able to afford to go anywhere. You know what I mean? So it's like, having a little bit of accessibility, I think, is necessary without like selling out or
Yeah.
whatever. So yeah, I just wish more people kind of knew that. It's like, this is, touring and stuff is already super taxing right now,
Mhm.
just financially for everyone. And, even for huge bands, I think Anthrax like canceled something overseas
Yeah.
recently or something. It was just, it's not financially like doable for a lot of people. So, you know, having more people be interested in it and coming out is definitely a good thing. So, there's a lot of gatekeeping in metal
Yeah.
with that stuff. So, fuck it. Like,
Which I don't get, because eventually all these bands like Anthrax, Megadeth, well, Slayer's gone, but
yeah,
bands like that, or bands from the '90s, like early '90s, eventually they're gonna be gone. So like, you guys are the next ones out, and the next ones that need to be known, and like, you're the next ones of metal, and that's what I don't get with people. Do they want touring to continue? Because eventually it's gonna become obsolete with all these prices if people don't open their mind just a tiny bit, you know?
I agree. Um, it's so weird because it's like it's a double-edged sword, because it's like all these old heads that, let's just use Bolt Thrower for an example.
Yeah,
They're like, I love Bolt Thrower,
of course.
and Bolt Thrower doesn't obviously tour anymore.
Mhm.
And it's like, well, we're trying to keep old school death metal alive
Yeah.
and like bring more people into it, like younger people, and like introduce more people to it. And like, people get mad, and it's like, so do you want to just listen to like the same 5 records over like for 50 years? Like, I don't get it. And and then they like say, people will get mad because it's not as innovative or something. And it's like, this genre is based on like 5 bands. So it's
Pretty
like,
much.
or else it, is a different genre. So, we do the best that we can, but I just don't understand like the mentality of some of these people, the gatekeepy
Yeah.
people. Because a lot of the older bands, I mean, they're limited to like a few shows a year, if that. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, look at Morbid Angel, and I Am Morbid. Like, it's just rough for some of them. And I know Trey, like, I think went to the hospital recently, and
Mhm.
they're getting older, so touring is harder for them. So,
Yeah.
we're just doing what we do, and you know, doing it the best that we can, and touring as much as we can right now, physically.
Yeah, you guys do a lot of tours. That's what I've
Yeah.
noticed. With you writing the bass lines for this last record, do you have any favorite like bass lines you wrote?
Um, I probably like Morbid Effigy is probably my favorite song on the record, because I wrote like the main riff for that on the guitar when me and Michael and Matt were kind of like fucking around at the jam space one day. And so, naturally the bass just kind of follows those main notes or whatever. But I really liked the like when I play it live, I just do like big slides,
Mhm. Yeah.
and before, like, that wasn't really a thing, but it's like, it's just fun to play live. I got a little more loosey goosey on this record, instead of being so like tight like on
Mhm.
Crypt. I kind of followed Michael like exactly.
Nice.
um and in this one, like, it's not super crazy or anything, but I deviated a little bit and added a few notes here and there. The bass is buried a little bit in this mix for this record, and that's just how it is. But I really like how Morbid came out. That's like my favorite song on the record, probably.
It's a sick record, dude. I will
Thank
say I noticed from you touring all the time, your fans love you. It's crazy to find like a band where they love the bass player. You're like the
you.
beloved.
Yeah.
You're like, so like because you guys have that DX shirt. You're like the China. Everyone's like, dude, China. Oh my god. And forget Triple H and Shawn Michaels, but you're like, that's what I have noticed. You're like, even if your bass lines are buried, everyone's like in love with you in the band, dude. That's what I have noticed. Your fans are very devoted to you.
I have really good fans, and I have like awesome like friends and homies that come out to shows and stuff, and you know they're like, really understanding of stuff. Like, hey, if I'm tired, I might not want to hang out at merch or something. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, I'll come out and say hey for a minute, but like I'm real tired. And like people have been so cool to me and so supportive and like everything that I do, and it's just been great. I'm not really sure why, but I appreciate it regardless. So, um, yeah, everybody rules. They're super cool.
I mean,
So,
someone made a doll of you.
yeah, I have it. I have it over here. Actually, I have like a little. I don't know if it's as weird, but I can kind of show you. Um,
I
I
just
have like.
love that. When I saw that, I was like, "Fucking Jesus, man!" So you're just so beloved, dude.
Thank you. I've got like just like little gifts people have given me and stuff like in my room, and that fans have given me, and it like makes my day, and it makes like traveling and missing birthdays and holidays and special events and stuff to tour like a little more
Yeah,
worthwhile. Sometimes you're like feel a little underappreciated sometimes, and or maybe you like have a couple of bad interactions with some drunk assholes or something that are
yeah,
being rude to you. And I'd be lying if I said that didn't happen sometimes, but for the most part, like people are really chill and cool. And, you know, um, the chick that made this, like she drove an hour
dang,
out and an hour back, didn't even come to the show because she couldn't, but just to give me this doll. And she made one for the Black Dahlia murder for Trevor.
nice.
And it's
That's
really
funny,
cool.
dude. I know that she made one for the singer of Ingested also, and I was
Mhm.
like, "That's a very time consuming. That's cool."
Yeah, it's
Um,
like hand like crocheted, it looks like. It's pretty crazy.
like I said, your fans are very devoted to you. Um, so you recently did a rig rundown. What gear did you actually use on this record?
Um, so on this record, the only bass I used to record with was my BC Rich Widow.
Mhm.
It's a 5-string WMD, and that tone for that bass, I think those are just stock pickups on it on
Mhm.
that bass. I don't really have a whole lot of info on it, but it sounds phenomenal. So that's what we use. We used for that record, this past one, but I can't play that bass live. It's just too heavy and cumbersome. But we use that to record. I use my Dark Glass Alpha Omega 900 for the amp for the head. And I'm not quite sure what cab we used because there was like a lot going on when we were
Yeah.
doing this. So when we were recording, you record it clean,
Mhm.
and then like your effects are added, so it's not like like mushy and messed up. And
Yeah.
so everything was kind of ran through, like you would record in one room and it was like ran through into another room where they were like messing with stuff. So as far as cabs are concerned, I'm not really sure. um I know they had a few smaller ones up there. Typically though, I use like a Ampeg, like a 8x10.
Nice.
um and I didn't use any pedals on this.
Dang.
I actually haven't been using pedals for the most part, even live, except for like my tuner. So, yeah, normally I was using, like for Crypt, I used a Lone Wolf Audio Caveman pedal, and he actually built me the prototype and sent it to me.
Mhm.
And that's what I used to record on that record. But yeah, I've kind of been like trying to simplify things a little bit. And that new Ironbird that I have is like sounds so fucking good on its own. It's like I don't even need a bunch of bullshit, to beef it up. It just sounds fucking good. So, um, but yeah, that was really it for everything.
Did you
Um,
end up buying that one bass that you posted online during tour? I forgot which one. I think it was a BC Rich, like again, because that's like your gig right there, BC Rich.
the new Ironbirds.
I think so. I know that it wasn't because I know you got the blue one recently, and then I think you
Mhm.
were talking about getting another one.
Yeah, so I set up alerts to get like notifications when they post, because they've been like teasing it for like a long time or whatever,
Hmm.
that they were gonna start having these Ironbird bases. I was like, no way. I've been waiting like at least 2 years since it was first kind of like teased. And my homie, Josh out in Arizona, shout out Joshy. He was like, Sam, did you know that they just posted the bases online? And I was like, what? And I like literally like it was like 8:30 in the morning. And I just was like, fuck it, I'm buying this hoe. And like I bought a black one, but it's the MK2 Ironbird. So they look great online. I'm gonna do a review once it gets in. I've been like refreshing my emails to like see if it's been shipped because I know a lot of people have already gotten theirs or whatever, but I'm really hoping it lives up to the hype because like all my instruments are at least 35 years old. They're all
Dang.
from the 80s pretty much. So um I bought it because I need something better for Europe. That's a little more durable. I'm a little nervous bringing that purple one over there.
Not just that,
But I have
with you
that one.
saying they're 35, but you don't want to bring all those on tour and something happened to it, you know?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like even just regular, like even if you're careful as fuck with everything, something's still gonna get dinged up. And like I even got a little chip in the paint in my new Ironbird, and I was like, fuck. But it happens, especially like with a tour as long as one
Mm,
that we just did. It was like almost 7 weeks. So, but I have that one. I have a custom that's supposed to already be here, but I emailed them yesterday from Verona Guitars. So that's like a custom shape, and then I spec'd it out and everything. Um, Hopefully, I mean, I paid for expedited build, so hopefully that'll get here before we go to Europe at the end of July. And then I'm working with a company right now for a custom as well. So we'll
okay.
see. That one will be ready hopefully before our fall tour when we go on
Dang.
that.
Just touring. Are you gonna do a side by side for the? Because you said you just ordered a new one. Are you
Mhm.
gonna do one for the 35 years against the new one and like do different? Oh, this one's lighter. This is that. This is.
I think so. That was my original goal because I kind of want to do reviews of stuff since a
That'd be
lot of
cool.
people ask me like gear questions and shit. So I have three different Ironbirds. One's an NJ, one's the MK2, and then I have the new version of the MK2 that should be here hopefully this month. And then the other two are both 87s, my older ones. But the purple one is a custom shop.
Mhm.
So it's like the Ferrari of all of those pretty much. But I think I'm going to do like a tone test where I'm plugging it in like clean and we kind of see how all of them sound and I can maybe like stack them. And then, um, it's got a boost on the purple one too. And
Oh shit.
we'll see how the black one works and stuff like that. But yeah, I think I'm going to do like a little compare and contrast with all of them once I get it.
And how did you get into that shape? Because I've seen that Joe from Bolter has like the same exact shape as yours. Was it her or was it just like something you fell in love with?
It was just kind of something I fell in love with. Like my first bass, because I didn't know any better when I first started playing in
Mhm.
Frozen Soul. It was a Schecter Stiletto, and I was an apprentice tattooing at the time, so I was making no money, like negative monies. We were just starting to tour, like we did our first tour, and um, part of that bass broke, and I had like no money to get a new bass. I was so broke at that time.
Dang.
And so like my birthday was coming up and I just was like, hey, if you want to give me like $5 to try to get a new bass, like great. And I ended up like for my birthday and I ended up raising like $1,200 or
Dang.
something. And I was like, what the fuck? Crazy. And I was like, okay, well, I can get a way nicer bass than,
Right.
a Schecter Stiletto. And I looked online and there was a Warlock for sale. And I was like, well, this is white. I love the shape of this. I never played one before, but I went and picked it up and that was my first pointy bass. And it was from a dude in a Motley Crue cover band. And it was an 87 NJ series Warlock. And I loved that thing. That was my baby for like, God, at least a year and a half. That was the only bass I played. And then I just kind of became obsessed with like pointy
Yeah.
shapes. I like the star shape a lot.
Mhm.
The more research I do on those shapes, like they go back a long time and there's lots of
Mm.
crazy offshoots of those shapes and um There's some Japanese stars that are really cool. I know Sammy Dewey like kind of based his
Mhm.
guitar, his star around that. Um, but yeah, it just kind of became like I just like pointy shapes, and then Joe Bench just happened to play Ironbird, and I was like, oh, this is kind of like the ultimate shape. And the
Yeah.
more I like researched and like coveted the Ironbird, the more people I noticed had it in bands of yesteryear, and it looks sick. It's
Oh
just a
yeah,
sick
dude.
ass shape. Um, so yeah, that's kind of like just pointy is my thing. I just like it.
Have you considered like getting an endorsement deal? You tore enough to get one from BC Rich.
Yeah, that's a sensitive subject.
Uh,
I've hit them up twice now, and nothing. So I don't know. They follow
that's
me.
stupid.
It is stupid.
You
They
tore
follow
enough
me.
and you're getting enough traction and
Mm,
growing. Like really? That's the bread and butter of wanting someone on a that's stupid.
yeah, I agree. And BC Rich follows me. They follow like less than 1,000 people. They follow
And
me, repost my stories all the time, like my stories, whatever. And it's like,
that's dumb.
okay, whatever, man. So I don't know. It's probably never gonna happen. So that's why I kind of like
I
started
hope
peeling
so. I
off.
hope it happens, dude. Like to be honest with you, like for me, so you've seen my videos. Everyone knows me as the Rick player. So I
Mhm.
see you as the BC Rich player. When I see BC Rich, I think of Sam of Frozen Soul.
Well, thank
So
you. I
well,
would
I'm
hope.
just
I would
saying.
hope so.
Well, I mean, like that's what we kind of strive to have our differences and like BC, you're different. You do death metal. That's cool, but like that shape equals you. That's how I see it. So they're stupid not to like buy on that and like make that a thing. And hey, eventually give you your signature one. That'd be cool. They're
Yeah, it
stupid
would be
not to
sick.
buy on that one. You know?
Yeah, that
Oh,
would be super sick. I mean, I've drawn up like three different
nice.
custom body shapes, and one of them I have sent to someone that's
Mhm.
being worked on right now. But I have ideas for all different kinds of bases that would be similar to an
Mhm.
Ironbird, but a little bit more like, I don't know, me, I guess.
Point
So
pointier. I'm just kidding.
I wish. No, just a little more user friendly. I mean, I've got, I'm sure you have the same issue, but like I have kind of big boobs. So,
Yeah.
like, the point of the Ironbird at
Mhm.
the top left, yeah, or I guess it's the right point,
Mhm.
it like stabs me in my boob like all day. So it's just
Oh,
like, um, some of the designs I've made are kind of like a little more female friendly
yeah.
in that regard. So, I don't know. Yeah, hopefully one day BC Rich, if you see this, please, for the love of God, endorse me.
I'll make sure when you know what? Because I take clips, as you see, and I take clips from the interview and I'll post them. I'll just tag BC Rich there, be like, psh.
I will too.
And then I'll put in my thing. Everyone tag BC Rich, and then and then there you
Hell
go.
yeah,
That I think that's what we'll do.
that sounds
um,
good.
so you've toured with a lot of bands. Do you have a favorite band you've toured with?
Hmm. I think so. Let me think. I love Undeath.
Mhm.
Undeath, all those dudes rule. They are so much fun. I just saw them at Milwaukee Metal Fest,
Nice.
and it was Kyle's birthday. Those guys are so funny and hardworking, and they just rule. Um, I've only done one tour with them,
Mhm.
but Dying Fetus, we're going to be going on like our third tour with them like this
Mhm.
summer. So just in terms of like the amount of touring, Dying
Mhm.
Fetus has been like, every interaction is cool. Sean, their bass player, is hilarious and he drinks wine. And so like when we were in Europe, we were like in the wine club and we would like
Nice.
get drunk on the bus and everybody'd be like partying and stuff. He's fun. Trey's funny. John rules. So they're all pretty sick. But yeah, Dying Fetus and Undeath are definitely top two, I think. And Phobo was really great this past tour.
Mhm.
That was my first time meeting any of them.
Mhm.
Phobophilic and Fuming Mouth.
Nice.
Yeah, those all those people were great, and they're really hardworking. Like the bands that aren't, headlining, like they have to work extra hard. So I have like mad respect for all of them, all the openers and stuff like that. So
Yeah. Um, so you've toured with Dying Fetus, as you said, like 3 times. Eventually, do you feel like you guys like kind of get your tour rituals like with them, and like, oh, you guys like do this? You said you guys do wine and stuff. So do you eventually like, grow tour rituals with certain bands?
um, I think it depends on the band.
Hmm.
Like Europe was a little bit different because we were all living on the bus together, and it was
Yeah.
five bands. So if you weren't sleeping, you were partying. So you're kind of like forced to interact and like be around people, whether you like it or not. And
Yeah.
luckily for us and myself, everybody on that bus was badass and fun to be around. So, but in terms of rituals, like I think most, touring and performing musicians, like after
Mhm.
you play, it's kind of time to blow off some steam a little bit, and
Yeah.
I'll have a couple beers usually, chill, eat. Some people, I don't smoke weed anymore, but they'll smoke a blunt or whatever, and I think everybody kind of has their own thing, but in
Mhm.
terms of like the bands, it's really just broing down and kind of drinking for the
Yeah.
most part and hanging out. So it's generally what goes on.
Do you guys have any like crazy writer requests?
Us personally, no. We got kind of stupid on the Dying Fetus tour last year. Uh, for some reason, we wanted like the shark coochie boards, and so like we put that on our rider, and we got one like every day, and it was
Oh,
like, I don't want these stupid fucking like adult lunchables, basically. Um, but really, no. Like, some people are like, I want a bottle of, tequila, and I want a bottle of Jameson. And really, it's like, I think ours is like Modelo, Celsius, and some type of like sandwich stuff and like chips. Like just stuff like if we hadn't had time to eat, like we can make a sandwich or some shit. Um, but no, nothing like a whole bowl of blue M&Ms or shit like that.
yeah, at least like this is like the first time in like probably 4 interviews that someone didn't say the request for hummus on their writer. That's like a huge thing. They always do hummus.
Well, we did hummus actually on that Dying Fetus tour, but it just, yeah, you kind of get your fill of stuff after, so
Yeah.
many days, and it's like, I don't want hummus anymore. Like I'm kind of over it. Um, Not that I don't like it, but it's just like if you have it, almost 2 months in a row, it's like I'm good. I don't want it anymore.
Right. And so what are your guys' like eating habits?
Ugh. Um, like what we eat or how, like when we eat.
Either one works. You could like a lot of people like to tell that they go to Bucky's or something stupid and they get a bunch of crazy turkey legs. I don't know. I don't like something. It could be when you are, to, you
Touring.
know,
Typically like on this tour, especially like we were really we had a ton of long drives, like
yeah,
14, 15, 16 hour drives on our days off and stuff. So a lot of times, and I hate doing this, but I understand like it's necessary sometimes, but like we'll stop to get gas, and like we all know it's going to be 4 hours before we stop again because
mhm,
that's when we typically need gas. So like there may not be food at the next gas station to eat, like hot food or something. So you kind of want to eat then. If there's something to eat that's
mhm,
hot that looks appealing, like go eat it then. So like we'll I hate eating gas station food, but I've gotten used to it.
yeah,
You got to eat when you can. Um, so I'll eat whatever looks fresh somewhat, but we have to like generally eat standing up like by the gas pump. So like
aw,
where the trailer is, like I literally have my drink and I'll have napkins and I'm just like eating while the gas is getting pumped because I mean, each stop, you know, if it takes 16 hours to get there and you're pulling over every 4 hours and it takes 30 minutes, that adds 2 hours, you know, for each moment you're dicking around, you know,
Yeah.
and people have got to use the restroom. So you got to be kind of quick or else it just starts adding up. But I try to sit down when I can
Mhm.
to eat if it's like kind of clean in there. I will try to eat healthy when I can. Like, you know, I'll have a salad a couple times a week
Mhm.
if possible. You can't just eat bar food every day.
Yeah.
It just, you start to not feel very good. I love pizza. That's like my favorite thing in the world. I've never met a pizza I didn't like. So, uh,
Even 7-Eleven, those are
hey, I
horrible.
fuck with 7-Eleven pizzas. Those are actually not that bad with some hot sauce. But yeah, I always know pizza is a safe bet, so it's like kind of the staple for me. I don't eat a ton of meat. I was vegetarian for 18 years,
Mhm.
and just kind of started eating meat again like in the last few years. But I don't typically eat like chicken from truck stops or like weird meat and stuff. The boys like will get gas station sushi and shit, and I'm like,
Oh
what is
my god.
wrong with you? That's disgusting.
That must be fun for you actually to deal with.
It's gross. And you know what? Knock on wood. I've never gotten food poisoning on tour.
Oh shit.
So,
Well, that's
and it's
good.
because I don't eat strange meat. So, I try to play it safe because it's not fun being sick on tour. It's like the worst thing ever. So, um, yeah, it's really just eating what we can. And then if something like, you know, hopefully you play in an area where there's like something within walking distance. So,
Mhm.
like, by the time we get somewhere, like I'll research and see because like we didn't really get our riders this past tour. We just got buyouts.
Oh
So
shit.
we'd be starving by the time we got in, you know. And I have a certain window to eat because I don't typically eat before I play. It needs to be about
Mhm.
4 or 5 hours before I play. So I pretty much need to eat immediately after sound check, or else I miss my window and I have to wait till like
Ah,
9 or 10,
that's
9:30
horrible.
or 10. Yeah, it sucks. But you know, if you're lucky, there'll be like a good restaurant like
Mhm.
around, you know, the venue area within walking distance, or you can like Uber, like or
Yeah.
whatever. But for the most part, it's just eating where you can and doing your best to try to not just eat bullshit all the time. So
I think you should definitely do more of those food reviews. You guys are wild on that one. You guys,
yeah,
those are cool.
yeah, I was trying to be. I had such like high hopes to like record a lot on this
Mhm.
tour and like document a lot of stuff, and I just got so tired.
I
Like
bet.
the first week after this tour, like I broke my rib like 3 or 4 days into tour, and I was just like,
Damn. How'd you
this
do
sucks.
that?
I got drunk, and I guess I fell in the middle of the night, like
Oh,
trying to walk to the bathroom, and I
horrible.
fell on this edge of the like bed frame.
Mhm.
It was right on my rib, just like dead weighted onto it, and I didn't even remember. And I woke up and I was just like in agonizing pain, and I like could
Mm.
barely move, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And so like we share hotel rooms, so like I have my own bed, and like the boys will share like whatever. And I woke up and I saw Chris and Michael, and I was like, "Did I fall last night?" Because I was just like, it was just shooting up my body, and
Mhm.
they're like, "Yeah, you ate shit." It like woke us up out of the middle of the night. And I was like, "Damn, I'm not drinking anymore this tour," and I like made it a point to not get drunk like a lot. So normally I cut loose pretty often, but I only drank like probably 4 or 5 times this whole tour, which was pretty good for me. So
How'd you hurt your leg? Is it the same like situation of the falling on the ribs?
no, it was we pulled up to the hotel in Houston. We had just gotten there, and the hotel told us to park along this like
Mhm.
grassy area, and it was kind of like not lit very well over there, and they're like, that's the only place you can park this van and trailer. And we're like, okay. So I am exhausted. I'm ready to go shower and go to bed, and I have my backpack on, and we have one of those sprinters, and I jump out of the sprinter, and there was potholes all in the grass with like moss, like this weird, it just looked like flat grass, and I just snapped my ankle as soon as I landed. And Michael and Justin, our merch dude, were like standing there, and they're like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "No, I think I broke my ankle." I physically jumped and just went snap. And I had to go to the emergency room like right after that. And we didn't have a breather this whole tour. Like, there was no days where I could just have my leg up iced, for the whole day, like chilling. It was just like go, 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 go. So it's still really swollen, and I'm hoping, like, I saw the doctor twice while I was on this tour too for this, because it was really painful. And they're like, "You're going to need to go to an orthopedic surgeon because you probably tore a ligament." So I'm going to try to go to the doctor. I've just been trying to get caught up on my sleep this week. I've just been exhausted. I'm also like anemic, so like I'm just extra tired. So I've been just like sleeping, like tending to like business stuff, and then this next week I'm hoping to get into a specialist for my leg or my ankle, and hopefully
It's better
nothing's
by
like
Europe.
too bad. So
I hope it's better by Europe, dude. Yeah, because that's gonna come up quick for you with your
yeah.
schedule, man.
Yeah, we leave the 26th of the next month. So
Oh, dude, that's gonna come quick because we're almost like we're 4 days in, no, 3 days into June already,
yeah,
and that's going quick, man.
yeah.
Um,
That's how it always feels like. It's like, I'm home, and then it's like, boom, leave again, because like we have rehearsals.
yeah.
We have rehearsals that start up, and then we got to get everything ready and all the merch ready, and it's just nonstop all the time. It's crazy.
So with you guys doing a lot of tours, is there anything you still learn from bands?
Oh yeah, I learned stuff pretty much every tour. Just efficiency wise, I learned something from just by watching people here and there. Like, we learn something every time, I think. Um, on the Napalm Death tour, their guitar tech, Oscar, shout out Oscar, he has been doing this for forever. Like,
What's funny is he told me to bring you up in this interview. Bring him up in this interview.
really, I
Yeah.
love Oscar. That's my dog. He like taught me so much, like little things that helped me, and now I've been utilizing, and I'm like, wow, this is way easier, and this is like stuff that would have taken me 20 years to learn. So like, and I know this is stupid, but it's like shit like your cable to your pedal board from your amp. It's like, I had a really long one. It was a train wreck, and he was like, "That doesn't look good." And he like snipped it, clipped it, wrapped it, and he's like, "Look, this is all you need." Boom. And just wrap it up. Those little ties that like, go around all the cables and
Yeah.
keep everything neat. Um, he did that for me. He clipped my cables for me. He helped me with my pedal board. Um, he did this thing too with these Lumine, not Lumine, they're like glow in the dark vinyl,
Mhm.
and he punched holes out for them because I have night blindness, so it's hard for me to see on stage because it's so dark. And he was like, "Hey," I was marking my bases because I was like, I couldn't see, and he was like, "Hey, I got these little things, boop 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 boop," and he just put them on there, and I was like, "Oh my god, you're a genius, dude!" Like, what the fuck? And so I've been doing that on all my bases that I get, because I'm like, God, this is like, why didn't I do this sooner? Just shit like that. That's like, God damn, like Oscar rules, and he's a G for that. Really been helping me out, and just like, you know, I'll see like different people's setups, and like what's his name, Christian from Fogophilic. Like, he likes BC Riches too. I think he had a Mockingbird, and we were comparing and contrasting stuff and like talking gear. So like, just cutting it up with like other bass players and like hearing stories. Like, you just kind of learn like different stuff to do. I don't know. I try to be pretty efficient and like setting up and breaking down. Um, as far as like gear is concerned, I'll take advice from people, but I don't like, I'm not going to go, oh, I'm going to copy your whole setup
Right.
to try, it's like I kind of
Yeah.
got my own thing going on, but yeah, I mean, different bands have
Mhm.
different like suggestions for things, and like you might learn more about like a specific merch company that might be
Mhm.
better suited for you, or like, trailer rentals or festivals. Like we all kind of talk shop, or whatever. And so there's just a lot going on most of the time, and we all kind of like know what's up with each
Mhm.
other. But yeah, for the most part, it's just like we're all helping each other, and we all kind of if somebody needs help with something or whatever, like people are more than happy to like teach me how to do it or whatever. So everybody's cool in
That's
that
pretty
regard.
cool.
Yeah.
And so with you guys doing all this touring, do you have like a dream tour lineup for you guys?
Um, I do, and I cannot say a whole lot about it, but it's kind of gonna happen
Okay, so it's okay.
pretty quickly. I don't know when this is gonna come out. Um,
I was gonna drop this next Friday, but
that's Friday. Okay. Um,
I don't want to ruin anything for you.
well, we're gonna make the announcement like 2 months or 3 months, but
uh,
yeah, it may be sooner than that, but I can't say a whole lot about it. But once I make the announcement, y'all will see. But pretty fucking hefty tour next year that is going to be
mm,
fucking sick, and that is a dream tour. That is a tour that, like, when we got the offer for it, we were like screaming. So
mm,
other than that, um if I could pick any bands to tour with, I mean,
mhm,
obviously Bolt Thrower would be great. Cannibal Corpse would be awesome. Like I've toured with a lot of my heroes like
yeah.
already, so it's kind of like I'm kind of just dreaming it, and it's like happening. So like Dying
Yeah.
Fetus was my favorite band since I was like 14 or 15. So it's like playing with them every night has been just a dream for me. But yeah, I mean like Bolt Thrower, like Cannibal
Mm.
Corpse, uh Obituary, Typo Negative, like
Oh,
most of the
dude.
bands I like don't exist, anymore and
Yeah.
stuff. So, or their members are passed away. So,
I'm actually surprised they never tried to redo Typo with just a different singer since Pete's gone. I'm surprised, which I'm glad. Hey, I'm glad they haven't, but I'm very surprised they haven't touched it. You know?
yeah, that's such a weird. It's a very fickle thing,
Hmm.
um, because on one hand, like I have to like word this very carefully. On one hand, like a lot of people don't understand like when a band has a member that passes away,
Hmm.
it affects the entire band.
Hmm.
And so like the rest of the band that has worked their entire lives for this
Yeah.
too, like they suffer, especially if it's like an untimely death. I mean, no death is like, obviously timely, but you know, um I think in order to fill shoes like Peter Steele's, like
Yeah.
impossible. I don't think it could ever happen.
I agree.
Um it would be really, really hard. But certain bands like Alice in Chains, like they've found a singer that sounds just like Lane, and
Mhm.
they can continue on, and like fans have been fans long enough to
Mhm.
support it, I think. Um, but there's some bands like that I don't know if they could replace like
Right.
who was singing and stuff, or another member of the band. So um but yeah, I'm kind of glad Typo Negative hasn't either, because it's like Peter Steele was like, he was Bay.
I know,
Um,
right? Gorgeous. Um, so you kind of like, so you're saying that your bass is like kind of heavy, and so you've been kind of switching up. How's your like live setup changed over the years?
oh, it's changed pretty dramatically since I first started. So I am completely wireless now.
Nice.
And this was the first tour that I've used a wireless system. Great
Mm.
investment. Like, wonderful investment. I still need to get like a little holder thing for the wireless, but I was like, God damn, why didn't we do this sooner? Because now we can like move around on stage and I can go to the opposite side or whatever. And it's really cool. And those were necessary for the big festivals that we have coming up too, when the stage is like, 50 feet long. So we all switched to wireless. I used to only use the Ampeg SVT4 Pros,
Mm-hmm.
which sound great. They're great amps. They are heavy as fuck though, and both of the ones that I was using, which were Chris's old ones, they are broken, and it's just not worth it to me to continue to have to keep up with these because they're just so old. Like if they get dinged, like there's probably gonna be something wrong with it. So that's why I invested in that dark glass head,
Mm-hmm.
and I have loved that for the last I guess I've had it for about a year now. It has been great. It's like the size of a book, kind of. It's
Mm-hmm.
a little bit wider, but it's like this thick,
Dang.
and it fits right in my gear backpack, like right in the top of
Good.
it. Um, and there's like a ton of features for that compared to like the old amp that I was using. Apparently I haven't messed around with it like extensively because I
Mm-hmm.
really haven't had time, but there's supposed to be something where you can like download an app and have plugins for it. So like you could mimic
Yeah.
like, if I'm not mistaken, you could like mimic like a Marshall amp, like
Oh
some of
shit.
those tones, or like do whatever, and you can save it on the app. So it's a pretty like high tech little, head.
Mm-hmm.
And the lightweightness of it is great for traveling too, with as much gear as I have. So my heads have changed, went wireless, and then I got the Oscar told me about it, these wireless battery packs for the pedal boards.
Dang.
Um, so when we went to Europe, um, it was like you have to have converter plugs and stuff.
Yeah.
And so it kind of takes out the middleman. You just have to charge it when you can or have the time. And it lasts a long time, but it powers your whole pedal board.
Nice.
Um, the only thing with that is it's not strong enough to power my wireless at the same time. So I can't use it right now. So I have to actually plug it in. So I might try to upgrade it and see
Mhm.
like what I can do with that. But that's great because you don't have to fuck with it. You could literally just turn it on, throw it on the ground, and plug it into your head.
That's
Um,
perfect.
yeah, that's great. Wireless is definitely the way to go if you can remember to charge your shit. um, I'm pretty diligent about it though. And let's see, my straps have definitely changed. I'm trying to get more ergonomic straps just because I have, bad back issues and I play heavy basses.
Yeah.
So I get those air straps that kind of like cushion it and they're a little bit wider. Um, and really I used to have, I started off with a metal muff and an HM2 on my board, which was, I don't know what I was thinking, but my first goal was to just have the nastiest, grimiest tone I possibly could.
Yeah.
And then I found out, like, as I evolved a little bit as a bass player, like maybe some clarity wouldn't be so bad every now and again because it just sounds like, just jumbled shit. Um, so really, like I was saying, I kind of dialed it back on pedals. I've
Yeah.
got a few new ones I'm going to try out. I have people that have sent me a few things. Really been digging dark glass stuff.
Makes sense.
But before I started, the dark glass pedal, I can't remember what it is. I think it's a photon, alpha omega photon or something. But I have that on my board. That's the only pedal I have on there besides my tuner, though. And I was using a decimator.
Mhm.
Um, it's kind of whatever now. It's like
Yeah.
I need a little bit better like noise gate and stuff
Oh yeah.
too. So I'm gonna invest in that before Europe. But really, I'm still kind of learning like every
Mhm.
tour and each show like what I do and don't like. I'll try like something a little bit different or
Mhm.
whatever. But for the most part, my entire setup has completely changed since the beginning of this band. And
Yeah.
I still want to have that like ballsy low end like gurgly kind of sound,
Mhm.
but I just want a little bit more clarity with it,
Mhm.
a little more cut through in the mix. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Do you have any endorsements?
We loosely have a D'Addario endorsement.
Which is good.
It's good. I use D'Addario strings. I like those a lot. Really, I don't. I've kind of been saving myself for BC Rich, like I was saying. So it kind of is one of those things where it's like, oh, that's probably never gonna happen.
I think it
The
will eventually. I'm crossing my fingers.
Me too. The boys, Michael and Chris, just got a Jackson endorsement.
Nice.
Um, I can get. Uh, I don't know if this is like rude to say to these companies, but like ESP Jackson and who else? There's another company
I'm guessing
that like
Schecter for sure, because I know Schecter will endorse practically anyone.
yeah. There's well, we had a bunch in our pocket. Like they were
Mhm.
like, we'll give you. Oh, it was Dean. They were
Ah,
like, Dean was trying to send us like free instruments, and we were just like, no, we want something very specific.
yeah.
And at one point, we were going to work with Kramer, and we had like business meetings with them, but they weren't really offering what we wanted now in their store and manufacturer line. So the boys decided Jackson was the best bet for them, so they
Mhm.
got their customs in on this past tour.
Nice.
I'm not a super huge fan of Jackson basses. Maybe if I got a custom, it would be different, but
Mhm.
I'm used to playing BC Rich, so that's just how it is. But really, I don't have any endorsements. I would like a dark glass one. Would love a BC Rich one. And like pretty much just like cables and shit that,
Yeah.
the little shit. Like I need straps. Like give me like somebody needs to give me a strap endorsement. So I lose those suckers like all the time for some reason. And picks too. Um but yeah, we kind of held off on getting endorsements until after the record came out, and then now it's out, so we can kind of like send some stuff out and be like, hey, like would you want to endorse us or
Yeah.
whatever. um So really, it's just D'Addario for me right now. Kind of like Chris works at Guitar Center, so like he gets such a good deal on
Mhm.
everything that it's like almost not worth it to get an endorsement because it's cheaper through like his wholesale cost.
Not just
So
that, you're tied down to someone you might not want to be tied down to for a long time. That's why you have to be very like
yeah,
with my endorsements, I'm specific. I like them and I am cool with not touching anyone else. You
who
know?
are you endorsed with?
I got Aurora strings, I got Get 'em straps, and then Frost Giant Electronics, the base mountain I always post about.
Hmm.
And hopefully, dude, I would think it's cool if he sent you one of those pedals. Those pedals are sick, dude.
I'm looking at it right now.
You
I've
have
got
one?
hold on, let me.
That like makes my day because like, dude, like you're a sick bass player, so you definitely for you to use one of his pedals would be sick.
Yeah, there's a Base Mountain right here.
Now I'm gonna like give him a big high five later for that one.
And he sent me the this one, the Yamaha
Nice.
Tone Explorer. I need to revisit these ones with my new bass because with my I was testing them out with my Ironbird and I just wasn't super thrilled with them. I just got this one sent to me in Houston uh, by Idiot Box Effects. So I need to, once I rest up a little bit more, I'm gonna get back at the rehearsal studio and fuck around with that a little bit. I still need a little bit more punch. I think I'm always going to say that. So it's just
Makes
like,
sense.
I'll see what's up. Christian from Necrofire and Night Cobra
Mhm.
brought this out to me. So
Nice.
thank you, Christian. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, hopefully, hopefully I can get some endorsements like here pretty soon. I think it's about time.
Yeah, definitely, dude. You guys tour like at least more than half of the year, man. Like it's crazy.
7 months, 7.5 months this year alone. So
How how do you guys go about getting ready for a tour?
typically, like, I don't know about the rest of the boys, but like for me, I run and own my own tattoo shop, and I also
Mhm.
tattoo. So I get everybody squared away and try to get everybody in that I can about a week and a half before I leave. And
Mhm.
so I usually take about a week off before I leave because I've got to like get my stuff cleaned up. I got to get all the strings. I've got to, dot the T's and cross the I's and
Yeah.
all that shit. And then really it's rehearsal. So we rehearse about 2 to 3 times a week.
Mhm.
Like we'll come up with a set list. We'll probably do that here in the next week just so we can all prepare on our own
Mhm.
too if we don't have time. But we come up with a set list and we have like basically it's like a light practice where we kind
Mhm.
of just run through the songs like the full set like twice, and we're like, we'll make any modifications, and we all go over it with each other. Like, I think this song should be up here. We should open with this, whatever.
Nice.
And then when it gets closer to game time for like leaving, we set up lights. Like, we'll turn off lights, and we have like actual like stage mimicking practice basically. So it's like lights in your face, like we don't go crazy on fog machine. I don't think we do that anymore, but we don't want to smoke the place out. But just to get you ready because it's
Yeah.
so different, like standing up and playing without any kind of pressure or movement, and then like playing a whole set while you're windmilling or
Yeah.
headbanging is totally different. So we try to have like at least 3 practices a week as it gets closer to time to leave. And then preparation wise, like Chad and Chris really handle the merchandise
Mhm.
aspect, and now we've signed with another company. So basically, we go, hey, we want XYZ on this tour. We can bring out, you know, 15 designs or 10
Yeah.
designs or whatever it is. They ship it to us. We go rent the trailer, load the trailer, inventory everything in our system, and then Michael generally goes and has the van service. So like
Mhm.
check everything, oil change, the def fluid, clean it out, and then we're just ready to go. We try to get wherever we're going about a day ahead of time.
Mhm.
So like for Europe, obviously we can't drive over there, but
Right.
uh, we're gonna fly out on the 26th, and
Mhm.
then the tour starts the 27th. So that gives us, a little bit of leeway, like, oh shit, I forgot this, because that always happens. Like, oh crap, I
Okay.
forgot this, or oh crap, I forgot that. Um, for me personally, I start getting ready for tour, like just packing my personal items about
Mhm.
2 weeks ahead of time because I
Makes sense.
always like it just for anxiety reasons, it helps me. So I leave my suitcase open,
Mhm.
like on my couch or in my spare bedroom. And I'm like, okay, like my underwear came in. So I like put my underwear in there and I'm like, okay, I got 2 packs of socks, and I'll start marking it. And I'm like, I have 7 pairs of pants in here or whatever. And that way, like, if there's anything that I need by the last week, I'm like, okay, I've got all this stuff and I've already marked it or ordered it. So it's like, it's ready way ahead of time, I guess is what I'm saying for
Yeah.
that. Um, but yeah, for like personal or for like band stuff, really it's just rehearsing and then,
Mhm.
merchandise and making sure the van's squared away. So there's no issues and stuff when we're driving.
And with you saying you prepared like the set list like a few weeks ahead of time, um, so do you guys like change the set list every tour, or what do you guys do with that?
Typically we have um like now that the record's out, we're going to be able to play some new songs. So we're going to integrate some more, hopefully one or two more newer songs on a set list. And so for Europe, I feel like you have to cater it kind of to your crowd. So and your tour package. So like maybe, you know, since we're going to be with Dying Fetus a lot this summer, like, you know, definitely have Morbid Effigy on there. Definitely have some more heavier hitting songs on there because of that kind of crowd. So we just kind of like see what works and doesn't. And sometimes we're on tour and we're like, this isn't working. Like, you know, they're not moving around enough by the second song. So we'll throw in like, you know, an ass beater at the beginning and then get going. But yeah, it's kind of, it changes pretty much every tour, and sometimes like 2 to 3 times more on tour. But you definitely want to have a list of the songs prepared that we are definitely going to play, and then like 2 that we might rotate or something. So that's pretty much how that goes in that
And
regard.
you guys have some of the craziest crowds. Like, what's your most memorable show for you?
Oh man, probably that's a tough one, but I think probably last year's Wrecking Ball was probably the craziest show for me personally and just crowd wise. And then that entire month was just, it was crazy. It was like, that's when I bought my shop. I got in a car wreck. I got a concussion. Like, Chad's brother passed away. It was like one thing after another. And we had to, we didn't have to. We got to go play Psycho. So we flew out for that. We had the Riley Gale Memorial Show. I played that with a concussion. But Wrecking Ball is our festival, and it's so much preparation for that. And because it's all like us, you know, doing it. So the anxiety leading up to that show was like, ah.
I bet.
And then yeah, it was very nerve-wracking, but like all the homies were there. We had like beach balls. I have one saved in the back there, but you know, as soon as we started playing, like all these beach balls got released, and like, you know, Corey's passing, Chad's brother, you could, if you watch any of the videos on YouTube, there's like somebody recorded our full set. You can hear it in Chad's voice. Just, you know, he was grieving. It was a very tumultuous time. So like, I think that's the hardest we've ever played. And like, it was a hometown show. So the people who knew Corey or grew up with him were there. And so like, people were just going crazy. I mean, it's giving me goosebumps thinking about it. It was wild. It was wild as fuck. You know, it gives me goosebumps thinking about it just because it was just, the energy was just, you know, it was insane.
Sounds crazy.
It was crazy. And I love hometown shows because I get to see my friends and, you know, visit with people, and I always know they're going to be insane. So that one is probably the most memorable for me. And then the first Wrecking Ball is probably, the first live Wrecking Ball was probably the most memorable because it was so hot. I don't know if you know anything about that, but it was brutal.
I bet, man.
It was, we actually had to stop our set 4 songs in because it was probably about 125 degrees on stage. And like 2 of the camera guys had heat strokes on the stage. People were passing out. It was so hot at the venue. And we all looked at each other and we're like, we can't play. Like, this is miserable. Like, I was like suffocating. And people still talk about that show because it was the venue's fault. They basically like lied to us, and they're like, oh, we can house like 1,200 people, no problem, and have the AC full blast. You know, it's just Texas. It gets hot as fuck in, you know, summertime. And it was cooler outside than it was inside, which was insane. It was so hot. And I had to go to the hospital after that. Lots of people did. They're just puking, and like it was so miserably hot. So that was memorable for a different reason.
Oh yeah.
Don't wish to repeat that, and that will never happen again because we'll never play that stupid venue. So
And with you touring so much, do you have a favorite place you like to play?
yeah, I love White Oak Music Hall in Houston. Love, love, love that venue. I love the staff, and the green rooms are awesome. Um, that place rules. The Belasco, that place is crazy. Their green rooms, it's so like, I don't know. It every time we've played there, I think it's sold out. So
Yeah.
it's always like ton of people there. The green rooms are all divided, and like they give you like personalized stuff. So I have like Belasco flip flops because they have that. They have like robes for you, and
That's
like
perfect.
yeah, showers, face masks. Like you can do your laundry there. It's like everything you would want on it, like as a touring musician. Anything you need. Like if you're like, hey, I want some Modelo, they just go get you it. Um, and then you have some venues that's like, do you even want me to come back here and play? Because it's like
Right.
you're kind of treating me like shit. Or you don't even have anywhere to go chill. You're
Right.
just in your van or outside or something, and it's like this sucks. So the Belasco, White Oak Music Hall, St. Vitus was sick.
Mhm.
It's been sick every time we've played there. Trying to think of some other places. Mark Cuban's venue, the one we had Wrecking Ball at, the Echo, that one was really nice. And let's see where else. Really, I can't think of any more right off the top of my head. There was one really crazy one. I think it's not Atlanta. It was on the Napalm Death tour, but they had a whole upstairs apartment that was like made for the bands, and it had like
Mhm.
books and TVs and like little cubbies to sleep, and like
Dang,
it
that's
was really,
cool.
really cool. It was the Saturn. I think it was Alabama or something. It was like called the
That's pretty cool
Saturn.
though.
Yeah, that place was badass. But yeah, that's really all I can think of right now.
And then for someone new listening to Frozen Soul, what songs would you suggest?
Hmm. Definitely Encased in Ice, because that's like our first kind of banger one. Morbid Effigy for sure. Uh, the boys are all kind of stinkers about Wraith of Death, but I love Wraith of Death and I love playing it, but we don't play it anymore live. Wraith of Death,
Mhm.
Death and Glory for sure. That's like one of the new songs that's just an absolute ass beater. So if you don't know us, those songs, definitely check them out.
Definitely, those are like this is one of my favorite records I've actually listened to this year. And I listen to records all the time.
Oh yeah.
It's sick, and you've achieved a lot with Frozen Soul already. Is there anything on your bucket list that you're still trying to accomplish so far?
Um, I think with how fast everything has kind of moved
Mhm.
with this band, like I didn't even think we would, or I would personally get this far. I just wanted to make music with my friends, and kind of turned into a monster pretty quickly. So, in terms of that, I would definitely want to play like Japan,
Oh, that'd be cool.
Australia. Those are like kind of bucket list things for me. Tour with some of my favorite musicians, like
Mhm.
Cannibal Corpse and stuff like that. Um, and in reality, like just longevity is like the ultimate goal, like being able to do this and sustain this lifestyle for like years to come. So
Mhm.
I don't really give a fuck about like billboard bullshit.
Of course.
We made billboard charts this past week or whatever, and it's like that's cool and I appreciate it, but you know really it's being happy and healthy
Yeah.
and being able to do this is like my ultimate goal, being able to continue to do this because I'm
Mhm.
not a spring chicken anymore. So And I'm getting older, and just seeing the world and doing it with my homies. So it's
That's
really
all.
the ultimate goal for me.
That's all. That all like super makes sense. So as a musician, you tour a lot. How does your music that you listen to on a daily basis change when you're on tour? Do you have anything like that changes playlist wise?
Oh yeah. I really, unless it's like a really hype new record that has come out in the death metal genre,
Mm-hmm.
I really don't listen to metal when I'm on tour.
Oh, shit.
I get my fill of it every night. I play it. I'm kind of over it by the
Mhm.
time, like, you gotta have a break. So generally, I listen to like Drab Majesty. I listen to a ton of 80s, like synth stuff.
Jeez.
Um, that's really the lightest thing on my ears. Like,
Mhm.
after just getting my ears pummeled for day in day out. Um, so really, it's just like softer, more like a little more like tolerable music that if I
Mhm.
put it on, I can go to sleep to it in the van if we have a long drive or whatever. Listen to a lot of 90s like alternative too. And we listen to metal in
Oh yeah.
passing also, so it's like, sometimes I don't want to wake up and listen to whatever.
Yeah, it makes
um
sense.
so I just listen to kind of not easy listening, but just nice happy music that's like kind of like my comfort music, like 80s and stuff like that. So
Yeah, that makes you see. You're right. You get to listen to metal all the time, so to listen to something different makes a lot of sense. You know.
yeah.
Um, and then so you're a female in the industry. You tour all the time. What advice would you give to like a female musician about to go on tour? Like, what would you just like tell them to bring or any advice?
um Tell them to bring, um just, I mean, everybody's stuff that they're going to bring is probably going to be different, so I can't
Mhm.
really give a whole lot of advice other than bring like a fuck ton of picks and strings.
Mhm.
You know, make sure your strings are changed and all that shit. Um, bring I use dude wipes, the mint chill dude
Mhm.
wipes. Those, I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Any touring musician will tell you, you got to have a clean ass, and like baby wipes don't, they're whatever, they clog up the toilet, but these like dude wipes ones, they're like eco-friendly or whatever, and you can flush them. So you can stay fresh and not be gross or whatever. Because some of these dudes, they fucking stink. I love them, but goddamn. I shower every day, but it's like, sometimes you get a little ripe if you can't do laundry and stuff. So you just definitely bring some deodorant, backup deodorant, dry shampoo,
Mhm.
um, baby wipes or the dude wipes, mint chill. Make sure you are sealing everything up in Ziploc bags, because if you have something burst in your luggage, it's a nightmare.
I bet.
Um, I bring slides and a pair of stage shoes, and that's it now. Um, and maybe if it's like a longer tour, I'll bring sneakers. Like if we're gonna do a lot of walking or something. Um, really, only advice is don't take drinks from people that you don't know. If it's women or anybody for that
Yeah.
matter. Um, if somebody comes up to you and they're like, "Oh, I bought you a beer," like, not even worth it. Just be like, "Thank you so much," and put it away. You never know. People are weird.
Pretty
Um,
much, yeah.
you can't be too careful. That's really it. And dudes are gonna be like, at the end of the night, like at merch, like people are hammered, so they're gonna
Mhm.
be like a little more grabby or weird with you, and it's okay to say no. It's okay to be like, okay, like we can get a picture, but like please don't be weird with me. Or whatever. And it's okay to set boundaries, and if you need your space, make space for yourself. And that's, I am learning to do that for myself, because
Mhm.
sometimes it gets really overwhelming for me, and I'm like, I've got to have alone time or I'm going to snap. So make space for yourself. Like, I've gotten my own hotels a couple of times on this past tour because I just needed to not be around everybody for a little bit, you know.
Makes sense.
So those are like a few things that I could recommend to anyone, really,
Yeah.
not just women, but you know, take care of yourself. And you know, if you're tired, like just be like, look, man, I can't do it. You know, like I can't do it today, or I wish I could go hang out, but I'm just exhausted. You know, make time for yourself, listen to your body,
Mhm.
and I have a really bad problem personally with like pushing myself too much. I'm a workaholic. So I have made it a point to try to like take time off.
Mhm.
And it's like I haven't really done jack shit this week, but I've also had it, you
Yeah.
know, injuries. So it's like I need to learn that it's okay to rest.
Mhm.
And you know, especially on longer tours with men, they don't understand like having your period and
Mhm.
like stuff like that. So it's like, you know, if you need your own room for a few days so you don't rip everybody's head off, like go take it.
Yeah.
And just be prepared when you're going on tour. Like have
Mhm.
allergy meds, like first aid kit, all that kind of stuff. So I'm kind of the mom of the band. So
That's that's awesome.
yeah.
And and then so you've been in the industry for a while and you've done a lot of touring. What advice would you give your younger self?
My younger self. Um Enjoy yourself a little more, I think. You know, if I could like go back in time,
Mhm.
I'm not sure I would have been able to do what I do now. I
Mhm.
was not like mentally there yet. And as I became older, is when I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna do whatever I want to do. So like if I was like in my 20s or even my late teenage years, like I don't think I would have the discipline I do now to like to do this. So I don't think Frozen Soul would have been a thing. But um, you know, the band has been a band since 2018. So if I
Mhm.
could go back a couple years, I would have gone like, hey, enjoy yourself a little bit more. Like take the day off or
Mhm.
go see that thing or you know go do that thing, you have
Mhm.
time. That's like the one thing I regret. I have regret on tour is not making time to go do specific things, and sometimes there's just no time. But you know, like in uh like in Europe, we had like I think less than 2 hours to go to all of us to take an Uber, see the Eiffel Tower, and come back with
Mhm.
traffic. And it was like, we may not get to come out here again. Let's go do
Yeah.
that. You know, like fuck it. If we're late to sound check, we're late to sound check. Like fuck it. So it's kind of just like at a certain point, it's like go do what you want to do. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And I try to like live my life right and do the right thing and like be good to everybody. And I've just made like I'm a people pleaser, I
Mhm.
guess. So what I try to do now is like I can't please everybody. So like, you know, sometimes I got to say no to certain things and I've got to protect my own mental health.
Mhm.
And that's what I would tell my younger self. Like, don't spread yourself too thin.
Mhm.
And like, you don't have to do certain
Yeah.
things because, you know, people are asking you to do it. Just take care of yourself, basically. So,
That that's all like super good advice. And then what can we expect from Frozen Soul in 2023 and 2024, I guess.
more touring.
Yay!
Yeah. More touring. I'm sure we're probably going to take a little bit of breather,
Mhm.
little bit of a breather from writing for the time being, but I'm sure we'll probably start doing that for the
Mhm.
next record either at the end of this year when we get back from our fall tour or the beginning of next year. We'll probably start throwing some ideas around, or maybe even before or after we get back from Europe. Who knows? It kind of depends on how everybody feels, but
Yeah.
probably writing more, um, definitely bigger tours.
Mhm. Nice.
I'm hoping, nobody quote me on any of this, but I'm hoping that we can maybe try to go to Australia
That'd be
next
sick.
year. I would love to do that. We've been getting a lot of requests for it.
That'd be cool.
It would be cool.
We would expect some like pictures of you with some koalas. So I'm just telling you that now.
Oh yeah,
We'd expect
definitely,
that for sure. I'm just throwing that out there.
definitely. I love koalas. They're so cute. Um, but really just like more touring and you know just touring off of the record. It's just such a build up for the writing process and you know releasing this record and the
Yeah.
music videos and promo. It's nice to just be like, okay, that's done. Finally, do
Yeah.
our interviews and everything we need to do for that, but just tour off of it and just
Yeah.
kind of relax for a minute and just tour.
Yeah.
So yeah, probably just touring, and I think a few of us are kind of wanting to dip our toes into like streaming, like video games and
Oh, that'd be
stuff.
sick.
Um, I'm planning on starting my own YouTube channel here pretty soon with like reviews. I also play video games too, so I might do
Ooh.
video game stuff. But like mine will mostly be like gear related reviews and shit like that. So,
I'll
try to get
definitely
that
have to.
going.
I'll definitely have to subscribe because that's gonna be sick. Because you probably get so much shit sent to you.
I get quite a bit sent to me. I just like I said, it's like being able to actually sit down and like dick around with stuff is like kind of difficult.
Yeah.
Especially like, my other job, I tattoo for a living. It requires like both of my jobs require so much mental stamina
I
to
bet,
be able
man.
to create all the time. So,
You pick
um,
the two hardest jobs to probably actually have. You're always
yeah,
either gone or you're always like doing basically like a big math like equation in your head because you have to make sure you focus and get the lines correct and shade
oh yeah,
correctly. So you pick the two hardest jobs. I'm just gonna say that.
that's no joke. Um, Definitely, did not pick easy jobs to make livings doing, but I'm
Right.
doing it and I'm actually making, a living doing it. So I can't complain too much, but it does require a lot of mental stamina. So,
Yeah.
um, sometimes you don't want to sit there and be like, can I just like chill? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, do I have to create something every single day?
Pretty much.
Um, but yeah, hopefully, like I've got quite a few hobbies, and
Mhm.
I think we all kind of want to dip into our own avenues of
Oh, yeah.
of things, and I would like to do stuff with makeup too at some point.
That'd
I
be
love
cool.
makeup. Maybe make my own palettes or something.
Dude, that'd be sick. That would sell out quick too.
I think it would be great, and I've got a ton of ideas for that stuff, but that's a little down the road.
We'll get there.
Yeah, but really, it's just touring and chilling.
And then where can everyone keep up with you guys and buy this new amazing record?
The best place to keep up with us is Instagram, Frozen Soul TX. That's pretty much our handle on everything. Our website, you can, has all the information, tour dates. You can buy tickets. You can, has all the streaming services listed. So our website, frozensoultx.com, has everything that you could want on there. It has merch too and updates. So those are the two best places to follow us. And if you don't have Instagram, we also have Facebook. So and Twitter. But really, Instagram is the one we're most active on
Mhm.
in terms of social media. So that's pretty much it.
Nice. Well, I'd like to thank you for being on the show.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
I
It's a
feel bad
delight.
it's a very long interview, but
No, I've had a blast. Thank you. I'm sorry I'm jibber jabbering so much.
oh, it's no, it's cool. Well, I'll see everyone next interview.